Deathbed. There's a rhythmic beeping. I hear it before I realize what it is, so I'm confused, even before I open my eyes. People in caps and masks go about their business, shuffling around me. Their conversations return to mundane things between each confusing statement of medical jargon. As much as I want to understand, my mind can't process any of this. They don't seem to notice me at first, but once they do, I slip back into sleep. Time passes, and I take no note of it. Another moment of brief cognizance comes, but it might as well be another dream. This one is vague, just a sense of pressure on my arms. I try to voice my discomfort, but there's something in my mouth preventing me from speaking. I fade in and out of consciousness, restless and weary, until I find myself lying in a hospital bed. The reality which brought me here slowly reveals itself. Unlike Pop, who died with loved ones all around, I'm alone in this room. I'm ensnared in a trap of monitors, IV drips, and compression wraps. My extremities are numb, and I gasp when I notice how dark my fingers are. Trying to lift my hand to get a better look, I'm given a second shock. As if the wires, endotracheal tube, and catheter weren't enough to keep me in this bed, my wrist is handcuffed to the side rail. I cough, gagging and shuddering. My head throbs. I'm freezing, drenched in sweat. I begin checking boxes in my mind. Hypothermia? Obviously. Pneumonia? Yes. Frostbite. If I live, I may not come out of this in one piece. If I live. All I have to keep me company as I wait endlessly for someone to come and explain what's happening is the tattered memory of my Christmas Eve. How did it come to this? It shouldn't be this way. Flashbacks of trauma play and replay in my mind's eye. The depth of damage never more palpable than now. Anguish, anxiety, and despair, all so overwhelming, sit upon my chest and grate at my heart with fingernails of ice. Because my hurt has become so all-encompassing, I haven't been allowed to feel normal. I've become disconnected from joy and peace and love. I begin to cry, and unlike any other time since I was a child, I do nothing to stop it. I add to my sobs whispers of heartfelt apology to my baby sister. All Jen wanted was to gather us for one moment of unconditional acceptance, one night of celebration and fellowship. All she wanted was to feel secure in the arms of those she holds nearest to her heart, and I did everything I could to push her away. To my mother, God bless her, the lonely pilgrim who always had to wipe her own tears away. Who knows her pain as well as I do? And yet I ridicule her for how she mourns, as though my way was somehow more noble. Because of me, she has lost 2 sons. And to dear Amaya, sweet Noah, and little Wendy, growing in the womb. I should be building a life with them, instead of listlessly floating. Instead of casting our home into chaos, I should be living out the example for my children and honoring the vows I made to my wife. I've taken them for granted, even as I felt undeserving of their affection. I've been toxic to all those I care about. I've been selfish, seeking out quick fixes to my problems, and only succeeding in burying myself deeper beneath the wreckage of my life. Rather than cowardly turning to booze to kill my pain, I should have had the courage to seek out the help I so obviously would benefit from. I should have sought out that support not just because of what I suffer from, but what my suffering causes for others. And instead of taking my precious gifts and squandering them, denying my dreams, I should have been finding ways to restore a zealotry for life. I should have seen it all then, as I do now, teetering on the brink, lying helplessly at death's door. For years, I have let myself believe I was bravely doing the world a favor by writhing in silence. I was proud of my scars and clinging to my wounds. I stood with water to my waist, fighting back the tide as each wave crashed down upon my head. I've been sinking ever deeper, but now it's time I learn a better way to fight my battles. And so I make a solemn vow, here and now. I'll stop trying to kill myself and rediscover reasons to live. I'll get the help I need. I'll learn how to respond differently to the troubling thoughts that get stuck in my head. Most importantly, I'll start forgiving myself and learn how to love again. Let this be my deathbed, and come what may, I shall arise a new man. The door swings open. Instinctively, I turn my wet face away. "Well, hey there," the doctor says. "You're up." Her tone is cheery, and I find it jarring. A police officer watches me from outside the room. He squeezes the radio on his shoulder. I can't quite hear what he's saying, but I imagine he's letting someone on the other end know the prisoner is awake. When the doctor removes my breathing tube, she can't help but see that I've been crying. "Are you in pain?" she asks. I don't know how to respond, and even if I did, I wouldn't be able to speak. I nod, and I sob. Laying her hands on me, she asks, "Where does it hurt?" Shaking my head, I try to form just one word, any word that might convey how I'm feeling. I manage to squeak out, "My heart?" I know it's trite, but it's what slips out. At first, she glances at the monitor. Seeing a normal rhythm, she turns her eyes back to mine. "Do you want to talk about it?" I can't help but laugh at myself, and she smiles right along with me as she waits patiently for me to calm and catch my breath. Blowing several times through my mouth, I finally find my voice. "Can you get me in touch with the VA? I need treatment for my PTSD." She brightens. "Well, I think I can do that." A man knocks on the open door, clearing his throat as he enters the room. "No," the doctor says, holding up a finger. "He is in no condition to speak with you right now." The man says, "I'm just here for a few questions." "I insist. I already showed you the warrant. He has a fever. He's dehydrated." "He seems all right to me." I interrupt their argument. "It's all right, doctor. I'll answer his questions, as long as I can keep my eyes open." The doctor retreats. "Fine. A nurse will be outside if you need her." "Thanks." The detective sets his notepad and coffee down. His body language lets the doctor know she should go. She takes one last look at me. "I'll be back to check on you soon." Turning to the detective, she adds, "Merry Christmas." Detective Grock says nothing. He simply waits for her to leave before closing the door.